There comes a time in life when we have to face the reality of our own mortality. In a way, it's a daily struggle and part of the so-called meaning of life. There's also a time when we have to deal with the mortality of those around us, more specifically, the mortality of our loved ones. I still remember the day my great-grandfather died. It was a shock. Not only because he was the only grandfather I ever met, but because I cared deeply for him. We bonded during my school breaks. We used to watch football, European football by the way, the one where we actually use our feet, that's why it's called Football America. Anyway, when he passed I couldn't fully understand it. For a 12-year-old, it was a hard pill to swallow. That feeling of emptiness and sorrow is daunting. It's a feeling you can't escape no matter what. It's devastating and somehow you have to get over it. That was my first experience with death of a loved one. It was the first time I had to deal with the fact that we aren't here forever. It was a dark, frightening realization. And even with that experience, the next time I had to deal with loss, years later, nothing really prepared me for the pain. It took me years to get through the loss of another loved one. Oddly enough, it was a video game that helped me close a chapter in my life, The Last of Us Part 2. Even though it's a controversial game, it did so much for me. It transcends being just a piece of art. It was healing through pain and sorrow, a way of moving forward and realizing that after you think you lost everything, you can still lose so much more if we keep drowning in a pool of sorrow. Hey, my name is Bernard. This, guys, is how The Last of Us Part 2 helped me grieve over the death of my aunt. Before we get started, let's be clear on one thing. This is a very personal video that reflects my own feelings towards the game, so if you're looking for a video that just bashes or praises the game, this isn't the place. There are tons of videos like that here on YouTube. This is more about how impactful this story was on me. With that out of the way, let's get started. The Last of Us Part 2 is a very story-driven game. It's hard to digest some of its story elements. From early on, we face the brutal death of Joel, the main character from the previous game. And Ellie now has to deal with all these emotions that comes with it. There's something we all feel when someone close to us passes. In my case, when The Last of Us Part 2 was released, my aunt had passed away 5 years prior. And all those memories and emotions I thought had healed come crawling back into my mind when I saw Ellie standing in front of Joel's grave. In that moment, I felt a drowning sadness, not only from how the game delivered an unexpected death, but from the memories I had of my aunt. Right before she passed away, I was devastated. From that point onwards, I was emotionally invested. My feelings were mixed with Ellie's. That was how I got hooked on this hard-hitting story. To be clear, The Last of Us Part 2 maintains revenge, which has nothing to do with what I went through. But like any good story, there are layers. And for me, this game is about more than just its literal meaning. One major topic it explores is how someone grieves over a loved one's death. We see that process through Ellie, specifically in her diary, where we glance her state of mind. I felt something similar. I didn't write a diary at the time my aunt died, but I felt lost and angry about everything I had to go through. To give context, my aunt was 100% dependent on my grandma, her mother. She had a low-level mental disability. Some might say she was a bit slow. She didn't really process or understand how things worked. She couldn't even learn how to read. So when she got sick, I ended up spending a lot more time with both of them, supporting my grandma and helping out however I could. Then the inevitable happened. I got a call from the hospital telling us my aunt had passed away. I was the one who picked up the phone and I had to give my grandma the bad news. To this day, it was one of the most brutal things I had to do. How do you tell a mother that her daughter just died? There's just no easy way. Just by seeing my face and expression, my grandma knew. She asked, and I nodded. The scream she let out still echoes in my mind. I felt like I was the one causing her pain. I couldn't fully put into words how I felt, how desperate and useless I was in that moment. It was one of the most painful experiences I ever gone through. And it resembled in a way the scene where Joel is brutally murdered in front of Ellie, and she couldn't do anything about it, just like I couldn't at the time. By drawing this parallel, I felt sympathetic for Ellie's experience and relate to it. This is a common thing in art. We project ourselves into stories if they resonate with us. The fourth wall breaks and part of us becomes part of that story. Everything feels so much more personal. In The Last of Us, we embark on a dark journey where we see Ellie spiral emotionally. The memories of Joel still haunt her, and the thing about grief is that it lingers. There are smells, objects, moments that remind us of someone we lost. The only thing we still have of them are the memories. Those are the most painful connections we can hold on to. Nothing replaces how you felt. Those moments are irreplaceable. That's what happened to me. I got stuck reliving the memories I had with my aunt, and all the painful ones come back too. Like Ellie remembered how Joel lied to her. I remember how my aunt kept secret the huge bruise that grew day by day. By the time we noticed and got to the hospital, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was too late to treat. When we no longer have the people we love around us, we start to wonder, what if? What if we could have done differently? But in reality, we're just trying to make sense of it all, to heal our own sense of guilt for not doing more while they were alive. This is one of the hardest things to go through and to get over. Like Ellie, I tried to live my life normally, but the trauma remained and it would crawl back and haunt me every now and then. My life took a toll because of it. I failed at school, my relationship with my mother went to shit. Part of it because of my aunt passing and how we both dealt with her death. I became depressed and nothing really made me happy. Video games at this point were my home. I ended up living with my dad, who was living in another country. For me, this was like my farm. In the game, Ellie managed to live a normal, peaceful life despite of everything, and it seems like she managed to live with the pain, and for the most part, heal. But the thing about trauma and grief is that sooner or later, you have come to terms that you have to face it head on and let things go. Like Ellie left everything behind to face Abby again, I had to come back to my country and live with my mom again. Even though I thought everything was healed, the sorrow was still there, lurking and crawling back to me. One of the most emotional parts of the game is the final scene, the last memory Ellie has of Joel. It was a powerful and emotional talk where they just tried to reconcile the day before Joel's death. This is given to us so we can understand not just what Ellie lost, but what was stolen from her. The chance to fix her relationship with Joel. The final memories of a loved one can be a gift, but also a curse. We often treasure them, but in the end, they are also a painful reminder of what we no longer have. They're like a double-edged sword. Beautiful and sharp, cutting deeper than we expect. This, of course, is another thing I share with the game, my last memory of my aunt. It was when she was hospitalized. With no more hope of recovery, I visit her every day with my grandma. Before she went into a coma, the last words she ever spoke were to me. She smiled, said my name, and said, "You're here." I could see a final moment of happiness in her eyes before she lost consciousness. Little did I know I would never speak to her again. Once again, I drew parallels between what happened to me and Ellie's story. The Last of Us Part 2 helped me heal through pain. It made me finally confront the unspoken feeling I had buried for years. It made me realize that it was time to let go the anger, the guilt of delivering the news to my grandpa, the sorrow I have been holding on to for so long. Thanks to this powerful story, I finally accepted the reality around me. The pain was always going to be there, I just learned to live with it. And this is one of the reasons I tattooed the same design Ellie has to remind me of what I've lost and what I could still lose. Grief never truly leaves us, it just changes shape. Sometimes it hits in memories, sometimes in regrets, and sometimes in games, stories, or art that unexpectedly hold a mirror to our own pain. The Last of Us Part 2 didn't just tell me a story, it helped me process my own. It gave my grief a place to breathe, and doing so, it helped me move forward. The journey Ellie took, I took with her. I felt it in a deeper level than most. Even though with different contexts and ways to deal with this emotion, I felt like Ellie was my sister and we both got over a death of a loved one. I know I will never forget my aunt, just like Ellie will never forget Joel. But through this game, I found a small piece of peace, a reminder that it's okay to feel everything, even if it hurts. And it's okay to keep living, even when it feels like everything has been taken from you. If you're going through something similar, you're not alone. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope in some small way it helped you face your own. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and drop your thoughts down below. See you.